Mike, I'll call it. I was thinking about the book talks about in the inventory on 64. It talks about a business that doesn't take inventory goes broke, and I need to get rid of damaged or unsellable goods and keep the things that are necessary. And this topic has really made me think about that, because I've reflected on several things that a lot of times, sometimes we give total negativity to that, in essence, I need some of, like fears. Sometimes fear, we say all fear is bad, but actually there's some necessary fears. There is expectation. Sometimes expectations in here. You'll go to an expectation meeting and you get this feeling that every single expectation you could come up with is bad, when the fact of the matter is that our book talks about these unreasonable expectations. I mean, we find that there are certain expectations that society runs on. If you borrow money for a house, they expect you to pay, and you expect them to not repo it. And I could give you 100 examples that prove what I'm saying. So it's trying to separate unreasonable from the necessary. And the humility and the ego is no different. When I think about ego, I looked this up a couple of years ago, and I've been guilty of it too. We go in an ego meeting and everybody's talking about all ego is bad. Well, I looked up the word ego, and it's how I see myself. That means every single person on the planet has an ego, and some of that ego is necessary. I came in here with an ego that said I'm a piece of shit, everything I think is wrong, my first thought is always wrong, and especially when I had to admit that I was an alcoholic, I was damaged in every way, and what's the fucking use? That's a bad ego. It doesn't sound very productive. Now, I had a false ego, right? Just like false pride. We can give pride a bad name in here. All pride is bad. But the fact of the matter is there's good pride and then there's false pride. And that's what the book is talking about, the false pride. There's nothing wrong with having pride in a job well done, pride in your child, pride in something you've actually done, or some family member. We know this. We just need to say it out loud. I need to hear myself say it. It's the false pride I need to work on. I need to get rid of that part and keep the reasonable part. So the reason I wanted to go into all that was to lead me to be able to make the ego case that I'm talking about. And I don't disagree with anything I've heard today, but my book told me to look at things from a different angle. And when I think about this ego word, I need to think about how the program has really helped me with my ego, in that it's given me a bigger one. It's given me a better one. It's given me a positive one. So now, my ego, how I see myself, is a lot better than when I got here. And that is a good thing. Now, what I need to balance with that is my disease's desire to want to make false claims and make me believe it. See, it's a subtle point, and I'm not trying to make everybody believe it. I'm sharing you what I believe. This is what I believe. This is what I know. And what I try to do is I make a decent case for it. It's just not my opinion. These are these things we deal with in life. So when I think about this false narrative that my disease wants to tell me, I need to stay objective and stay in reality. So I wanted to throw that out there because it's real important that I say that this program has helped me with my ego, and I see myself in a better light today. It's the false pride that I need to work on. It's the false ego, and I can look back and see that it was all over me. But today I know what I stand for, because if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. Malcolm X said it. Some other people have said it. I believe it. Sometimes I have to say what I believe, even if I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with it. I mean, I've been around here a little while, and I've learned a few things, and I've learned how to look at some things that I once would tell you all of that's bad, and now I've learned that it's not. All pride's bad. I've learned that's not the case. All fear is bad. That is not the case. Food for thought. I'll pass.